I can't make it. Dad's okay. My husband is hosting a retirement bash, and we can't ditch our colleagues. Those were the precise words Elijah uttered to the nurse when informed I was on the brink of death. Literally fading away. My lungs had collapsed twice en route in the ambulance, and my 45-year-old daughter chose Lila's cocktail hour over her mother's final moments. Here I am, tethered to ventilators that force air into my frail body, gazing at the sterile white walls of this impersonal ICU ward. It's 3 a.m., and solitude envelops me like a shroud. The oxygen mask fogs with each labored breath, a constant reminder that every inhale might be my farewell. And my daughters are just 40 miles away, clinking glasses in merriment. The sharp scent of antiseptic clashes with the bitter aftertaste lingering since I emerged from the urgent procedure. My fingers quiver uncontrollably whenever I attempt to shift. And it's not merely the sedatives. It's the fury igniting within me like wildfire. "Ms. Rivera, please try to relax," murmurs Sophia, the overnight caregiver. She's a middle-aged woman, maybe akin to my sons-in-law in years, yet her gaze brims with empathy I've long missed from my kin. The specialist emphasized, "The key now is for you to remain serene." Serene? How could serenity find me when I've just unearthed that to my offspring? I'm eclipsed by a festive gathering. Dr. Patel was unequivocal when she recounted the conversations 3 hours prior. Her voice still resounds in my mind like thunderclaps. I explicitly conveyed that this might be her final evening, that the pulmonary embolism was catastrophic, and their presence was imperative without delay. Sophia's reply stung deeper than her siblings. "Doctor, she can't hold off till dawn. Marcus arranged this meticulously for weeks, and the invitees are all here. My mom is resilient. She's bounced back from worse. I've bounced back from worse." That sentiment loops in my thoughts like a tormenting refrain. I bounced back when their mother deserted us 30 years ago, stranding me with 2 preteens and a sea of unpaid bills. I bounced back juggling 4 gigs to fund their elite university educations, scrubbing warehouses at midnight, stocking shelves in a supermarket by day, tutoring kids in the evenings, and baking pastries for local cafes on weekends. My palms still carry the calluses from those endless hours. I bounced back when I auctioned off our cozy blue cottage by the river, the one with the backyard swing where they played endlessly, to assist Elijah with his startup loan. "Just a short-term favor, Mom," he promised. "I'll reimburse you in 3 years. That was a decade ago." I bounced back when I forked over my nest egg, $35,000 scraped together over lifetimes of frugality, for Sophia's boutique venture that fizzled out. "It's foolproof, Mom. In a year, you'll get it all back plus dividends." The shop shuttered after 4 months. I bounced back when Lila critiqued my floral blouse at Thanksgiving, declaring it too flashy for family photos and suggesting I opt for something more subdued. I bounced back when Marcus deemed my homemade tamales too ethnic for their modern palate, insisting on catered fusion cuisine instead. I bounced back as they phased me out of holidays because, Nana always has to chime in with her outdated advice. But this isn't about vanished funds or overlooked barbs. This is irreparable. The revelation that in the clutch, when my existence teetered, they opted for revelry. Dr. Patel detailed solemnly, "Ms. Rivera, you experienced 2 respiratory failures en route. The EMTs revived you, but you were clinically gone for 6 minutes. It's astonishing you're conversing now." 6 minutes lifeless, and my daughters fretted over spoiling Lila's elegant balloon arches. The ward door stays shut. No frantic inquiries in these 6 hours post-awakening. No pings on my phone. Only the rhythmic whoosh of the ventilator sustaining me and the haunting replay of their dismissals. "We can't. My husband is hosting a bash. Sophia monitors my stats by hourly. Your oxygen levels are dipping slightly," she notes with authentic worry. "Is something troubling you?" If only she grasped I was ruminating on 70 years of boundless devotion discarded for hors d'oeuvres and sparkling lights. In this instant, peering at the distant skyline through the fogged pane, A core fracture solidifies within me, and it's not my lungs. It's profounder still. The final shard of faith that perhaps I retained significance to anyone. Come morning they'll ring. Undoubtedly they'll appear with wilted corner store blooms and scripted apologies. They'll claim misjudging the severity, assuming it was another of my dramatics, like the hip fracture from a slip last winter that saw them visit after 4 days. But the hourglass has run out. This eve, they've illuminated my rank in their hierarchy. Rock bottom, I shut my lids and drift to 4 decades past. Elijah was 4, and Sophia newly arrived. We dwelled in that cramped 3-room flat in the Riverside district, with creaky floors that echoed every footfall. Elena, my spouse then, labored at the auto plant, while I managed the home front with the little ones. I recall vividly the aroma of fresh diapers and their joyous squeals during splash time in the thrift store basin we'd scavenged. Elijah was the Velcro child, trailing me ceaselessly with "Mama, Mama" on his pudgy lips. Sophia, bolder, yet during illnesses, she'd nestle close, begging for the folk tune my abuela taught me. All for my darlings, I'd affirm while knitting scarves till dawn to peddle at flea markets. Every surplus cent funneled to them. Fresh kicks as they sprouted, art supplies, Elijah's dance sessions, Sophia's piano tutorials. I donned the same faded skirt for 3 seasons, but they shone spotless. The initial rift surfaced at Elijah's 28th. She'd encountered Lila at her firm, a shrewd lady with impeccable makeup and designer purses. Their debut dinner at mine, she scanned my abode like appraising a fixer-upper. "Rosa," she addressed me with a grin that chilled. "Wouldn't it be wiser for Elijah and me to do Easter at ours this year? My folks cherish our customs, and Mother insists on her flair." That Easter, solitude claimed my table for the first time in 28 years. The ham I'd roasted sat spoiling in the fridge for days. Querying Elijah on the feast, he gushed, "It was epic, Mom. Lila's pad is stunning, a kitchen like a showroom, and the spread. Her mom's a culinary wizard," as though my decades of meals evaporated. Sophia mirrored the shift 3 years on. Marcus diverged from Lila, more insidious in his maneuvers. He didn't banish me outright, but sprinkled digs that eroded like acid rain. "Oh, Rosa, that polka dot scarf is charming," he'd coo patronizingly. "So retro, right?" I keep nudging Sophia that ladies our vintage should refresh their closets now and then. Or sampling my signature empanadas, honed over eras. Tasty, suegra, though a tad oily for my tummy. I lean toward fresher, trendier bites. Sophia's adapted to my vibe. Gatherings thinned. First, Marcus feels under the weather, craves low-key. Then, the grandkids' schedules demand calm. Eventually, invitations ceased. Maria, my block's confidant, laid it bare over tea one day. "Rosa, mi amiga, your sons-in-law are edging you out." Classic tale. I've witnessed it endlessly. But denial gripped me. "They're fine lads, Maria, just settling in." "Settling?" "Wedded 7 years, Rosa. They've settled you as the abuelita for crises only. Vanishing post-haste." She nailed it, though admitting scorched. I'd morphed into an outsider in my progeny's realm. Chats turned rote. "Hey, Mom, all good?" "Yep, same here." "Catch ya, swamped." The gut punch landed 3 years back, aiding Sophia. Marcus spotted a prime condo in a gated enclave, short $120,000 for entry. "Mom," Sophia pleaded in her childhood wheedle. "It's huge, but our shot." "Solid bet. In 6 years, it'll triple." I liquidated our blue cottage, etched with their growth marks on jams, their toddling grounds, relocated to a dingy walk-up sans amenities, but they claimed their palace. My inaugural drop-by, Marcus met me with strained courtesy. "Rosa, unexpected. Call ahead next time. We're prepping for a soiree." No entry extended. I lingered on the stoop of the home I'd funded, akin to an uninvited peddler. "Brought this," I offered, proffering a flan I'd crafted, Sophia's childhood fave. "Oh, sweet, but we're keto now." Sophia's vigilant post her blood sugar spike. He clutched it like biohazard. That night, tears soaked my pillow. My daughter battled glucose woes. Learned incidentally at a threshold chat of a domicile I'd enabled. With Elijah, agony varied yet paralleled. Always forthright, less tactful than her kin. As her consulting firm tanked, she cut to chase. Mom, need $10,000. Lifeline for the outfit. Sans it pronto, bankruptcy looms for eons. My entire buffer, every nickel from graveyard shifts, every pension scrap over 12 years. But she was my girl, the one I'd soothed through colic marathons. Loan granted sans IOU. He's kin, I rationalized. Knows its weight. Firm cratered in 5 months. The $10,000 poofed with epochs of toil and retirement visions. Elijah shrugged. Mom, biz is gamble. Win some, lose some. Least I swung. Now, wired in this frigid bay, clarity dawns. Those episodes primed me for tonight's unmasking. To my brood, I'm expendable. The distress ignited 4 days prior at Elijah's brunch. My 70th milestone, though amnesia struck all. Lila served quinoa bowls and poached salmon. Far from my erstwhile kiddo bashes. Mom, you seem drained, Sophia noted, eyes glued to her tablet. Resting okay? Truth, sleepless for fortnights. Nocturnal vice on my chest at 4 a.m., like weights crushing. But no alarms raised. Didn't crave labeling as hypochondriac, their tag for my woes. Fine, dear. Minor cough spells. Lila chuckled sharply. Age catches up, Rosa. Bodies shift post-60. I advise my aunt, Leah. Lila chuckled sharply. Age catches up, Rosa. Bodies shift post-60. I advise my aunt. Lighter fare, no allergens, less carbs. A septuagenarian ain't a spring chicken. Post-meal, pre-departure. Marcus burst in with glee. Drumroll. We locked Lila's promotion fate date. Friday at the Elite Pavilion. Months in works. Friday. My birth date passed unheralded Sunday. Friday heralded Lila lavishly. It'll rock. Marcus beamed. Top-tier DJ, custom florals, 60-plus RSVPs. Elijah splurged $1,500 on this sapphire gown for her. $1,500 attire. Exceeds my annual wardrobe budget. I hushed, chest clamp tightening, witnessing my daughter beam at the extravagance rivaling my yearly sustenance. Mom, you're welcome, of course. Elijah tossed, tone obligatory over eager. In the bustling city of Chicago, where the wind whipped through the streets like an unrelenting reminder of life's harsh turns, lived a 68-year-old widow named Margaret Hayes. She had raised her 2 sons, Alexander and Theodore, single-handedly after their father walked out when they were young. Margaret had poured her soul into them, sacrificing her dreams, her youth, and her savings to ensure they had everything. Now, in her twilight years, she lived in a cramped 1-bedroom apartment on the outskirts, surviving on a modest pension and the occasional sewing jobs she took from neighbors. Alexander, the elder at 42, was a successful marketing executive married to Victoria, an ambitious lawyer who thrived on high society events. Theodore, 34, ran a small tech startup and was wed to Gabriella, a social media influencer whose life revolved around glamorous gatherings and online fame. Margaret's sons visited sporadically, usually when they needed something, a loan, advice, or just to check a box on their busy calendars. But Margaret clung to the hope that deep down, the love she had instilled in them would shine through in her time of need. It all unraveled on a crisp autumn evening in October 2025. Victoria was turning 40, and she had planned an extravagant gala at an upscale venue downtown. Invitations had gone out weeks in advance, boasting black tie attire, live jazz, and a menu curated by a celebrity chef. Margaret received hers with a handwritten note from Victoria. Join us if you can, but please dress appropriately. It's going to be sophisticated. The subtext stung. Don't embarrass us with your simple ways. The night before the party, a Tuesday, Margaret felt a crushing weight in her chest. It started as a dull ache, but escalated into sharp pains radiating down her left arm, accompanied by waves of nausea that left her curled up in bed. Panic set in, and at 10:30 p.m. she dialed Alexander. "Mom, what's up?" "We're in the middle of a Netflix binge," he answered, his voice laced with mild annoyance. "Alex, I don't feel right. My chest hurts terribly and I'm nauseous. It won't stop. Did you try some ginger tea? Or maybe it's indigestion from that heavy dinner you mentioned last week. You've been stressed about Victoria's event. Probably just nerves. Listen, we'll swing by Thursday morning after the party's wrapped up." She hung up, tears welling in her eyes. Even her agony had to queue behind Victoria's celebration. Sleep evaded her that night. The pain intensified, spreading to her jaw, neck, and shoulders, like an iron vice squeezing her body. By 4 a.m., desperate and gasping, she called her lifelong friend, Patricia. "Patricia, something's wrong. The pain. It's everywhere." "Oh, Margaret, that sounds serious. Like classic heart trouble. I'm on my way. We'll get you to the ER. But it's Wednesday tomorrow. Victoria's big night. I can't spoil it for them." "Spoil it?" "Margaret, this could be life or death. A party means nothing compared to you." Patricia arrived by 5:30 a.m., finding Margaret pale and clammy on the couch. They rushed to the hospital in a cab, Margaret clutching Patricia's arm as the pain peaked, feeling like a searing blade twisting in her sternum. In the ER, tests flew. An EKG revealed arrhythmias, sky-high blood pressure, and elevated troponin levels. "Acute myocardial infarction," the doctor, Dr. Reynolds, declared. "We need to get you into surgery now for angioplasty and stents." "Family? Anyone we should notify?" a nurse asked. Margaret, voice weak from painkillers, provided her son's numbers. "Tell them it's critical, please." Patricia held her hand until the OR doors swung shut. "I'll be right here, love. You're not facing this alone." But as anesthesia took hold, Margaret's final thought was of her sons primping for a gala while she battled for survival. She awoke 8 hours later in ICU, groggy and sore, with Nurse Elena monitoring her monitors and Patricia dozing nearby. No sign of Alexander or Theodore. Did my boys call?" Margaret whispered. Elena's face fell. "The doc reached them mid-surgery. Explain the severity. 2 arrests on the table, touch and go. Urge them to come ASAP, and," Elena sighed, "your older one said they were hosting a crucial event. Couldn't leave guests hanging. Assured us you'd pull through. You're tough." The younger asked if tomorrow post-party would suffice. Margaret's world shattered. Tears streamed as the emotional blow hit harder than the physical one. Victoria's $1,500 sequined gown and gourmet canapes trumped her mother's life. Patricia stirred, rushing to her side. "What is it, pain?" "Everything hurts, Pat. To think I raised them. And a bash matters more than if I live or die." That midnight, staring at the sterile ceiling while her sons likely danced miles away, Margaret resolved to alter her fate forever. The following days blurred into agony and isolation. No calls, no visits from her sons. Nurse Elena dodged her questions about inquiries, her pity evident. Thursday afternoon, 36 hours after the gala, the phone rang. Margaret's pulse spiked, alarms beeping. It was Theodore. "Mom? Hey, we heard you're in the hospital. Why didn't you say anything sooner? The doctors called you Wednesday. Told you I was critical, might not make it." Awkward pause. Yeah. But Victoria's gala was huge. VIPs flew in. "We couldn't bail." "You're resilient, Mom. We figured it'd hold till after." "Hold? My heart stopped twice." "Don't dramatize. Surgery went well, right? We'll pop by Saturday evening, post our brunch plans." Saturday. Days away. She hung up, rage boiling. Elena approached. "Mrs. Hayes, your vitals are spiking. Everything okay?" "No, Elena. Nothing's okay anymore." Friday brought Alexander, trailed by Victoria in a chic blouse and pearls, her post-party glow intact. Margaret, in contrast, was disheveled, tubes snaking from her veins. "Mother, you scared us," Victoria cooed, eyes cold. "Such awful timing right on my big night." "The gala was epic, Mom." Alexander beamed. perching far from the bed. Over 80 guests, Victoria's partners, my clients. Networked like crazy, as if her ordeal was backdrop to their triumph. I'm feeling better, Margaret lied, testing them. But I died twice on the table. 4 minutes clinically gone. Alexander fidgeted. But you're here now. That's what counts. What counts, she echoed, stealing, is that while I fought, you partied. Victoria bristled. Unfair, Margaret. We didn't grasp the gravity. And honestly, what could we do? We're not medics. Better we handled the event we'd poured thousands into. Handled? More useful than being with your dying mom? Look, Theodore interjected. He'd arrived late. Gabriella and I discussed. We'll up our game. Visit bi-weekly. Say Tuesdays after work, barring emergencies or events. Bi-weekly, conditional. It crystallized. She was a chore. Something snapped. Not her heart, but her illusions. You're correct, she said evenly. No guilt needed. Guilt requires conscience, and yours vanished long ago. Victoria gasped. Rude! We came despite packed schedules. Came to tick a box, ease your sleep. Alexander stood. Mom, you're unjust. We explained. The gala was career pivotal. Can't halt life for every health blip. Every blip. Like heart attacks? Right, he pressed. No more demands, Victoria nodded. Boundaries are key in families. They lingered 15 minutes, chattering about vacations, a new sofa Gabriella eyed. Margaret observed silently. As they left, vague promises hanging, she felt resolve solidify. Elena checked in. You seem off. Call anyone else? Siblings? Just Patricia. She's family now. That night, insomnia struck, but with clarity. No rose-tinted maternal lens. Raw truth. She requested paper and pen from Elena. Journaling, Mrs. Hayes? Sorting my soul, she wrote. Dear Alexander and Theodore, for 68 years, you've been my world. Every choice, sacrifice, forsaken dream, for you. Now, post-heart attack, clinically dead briefly. I see you've never reciprocated. Flashbacks flooded. At 38, post-divorce, suitors like kind Mr. Thompson, a baker, wooed her with pastries and walks, but she declined, prioritizing her boys. No stepdad drama. Alone she stayed, raising them, worked 4 jobs. Dawn cleaning factories, days waitressing, evenings tutoring, nights baking for markets. Slept 4 hours, Sundays all theirs, picnics, homework, stories. Alexander, for your wedding to Victoria, I cashed my retirement bonds for your lakeside home down payment. Sold my cozy cottage, childhood haven of laughter and holidays, for a dingy walk-up. But you had stability. Theodore, your startup teetered. I gave $35,000, lifelong scrimping, pension pinches, extra gigs till 72. My golden years buffer, gone so you thrived, but money's secondary. The killer. Wednesday, as I arrested twice, you galled. Docs begged your presence, my potential last night. You chose champagne over me. You don't love me anymore. I'm obligation, not cherished. Thus, my choice. No more begging scraps. When you read this, I'll be vanished. Starting fresh unknown as Margaret, not forsaken mom, not rage-driven but self-love. I'll surround with valuing souls, pursue joys denied. Don't seek, won't find. Goodbye. Be content with your galas, careers, priorities. I'll find joy afar. Signed, Margaret Hayes, your mother, no more. She sealed it, slept peacefully first time post-op. Saturday dawned vibrant. Patricia visited, thermos of tea in hand. You glow today. Pat favor. Deliver this to my sons tomorrow evening, post-visit. What's inside? My emancipation. And help me vanish. Patricia's worry melted to understanding as Margaret outlined. Secret $10,000 stash from post-loss pensions. Cousin Lydia in Atlanta. Widowed, spacious home. Invitation open years back. Plan. Sunday visit, last contact. Post-departure. Patricia aids escape. No discharge. Letter left. Power of attorney via Elena's lawyer, kin for affairs. Sell belongings, end lease. Where to exactly? Atlanta Lydia's. But you won't. Tino details till safe. Promise silence when they plead. I vow. But weekly calls. Ensure you're okay. Deal. You're my true kin. They refined. Patricia withdrew cash Friday. Margaret phoned Lydia. Cousin, life's imploded with sons. Need refuge. Offer stand? Absolutely. House empty. Thrilled for company. Spill on arrival. Sunday pulsed with anticipation. Last as their mom. Tomorrow reborn. Elena noted jitters. Excited, Mrs. Hayes? For new beginnings. Sons arrived 3 p.m. post-brunch. Victoria in silk scarf. Gabriella snapping selfies. Mom. Improving? Theodore noted distantly. Yes, Gabriella chirped. We knew you'd bounce back. Drama overblown. Plans? Victoria. Senior community, perhaps. We toured one, pools, bingo, nurses. $2,500 month. Your pension plus our chip-in. Nursing home exile. Safe, Alexander added. Company your age. No loan emergencies disrupting us. Silent, she absorbed their unilateral decree. Radical change needed, she agreed cryptically. Relief washed them. Smart mom. Hour passed. Facility details, their promotions, Hawaiian getaway plots. Gabriella flashed gala pics. $400 cake. Divine. $1,500 gown. Worth it. At 5 p.m. departures. Hasty pecks. Wiped lips. Call soon. Promises faded. Alone. Margaret grinned. Freedom's dawn. Patricia entered. Escape commenced. By dusk. Bus bound to Atlanta. Letter bedside. Tomorrow. Son's world upends. Margaret? Reborn. Heart mending in ways surgery couldn't. Sons arrived 3 p.m. Post-brunch. Victoria in silk scarf. Gabriella snapping selfies. Mom improving. Theodore noted distantly. Yes, Gabriella chirped. We knew you'd bounce back. Drama overblown. Plans. Victoria. Senior community, perhaps. We toured one. Pools, bingo, nurses. $2,500 month. Your pension plus our chip-in. Nursing home exile. Safe, Alexander added. Company your age. No loan emergencies disrupting us. Silent, she absorbed their unilateral decree. Radical change needed, she agreed cryptically. Relief washed them. Smart mom. Hour passed. Facility details, their promotions, Hawaiian getaway plots. Gabriella flashed gala pics. $400 cake. Divine. A $500 gown. Worth it. At 5 p.m. departures. Hasty pecks. Wiped lips. Call soon. Promises faded. Alone, Margaret grinned. Freedom's dawn. Patricia entered. Escape commenced. By dusk, bus bound to Atlanta. Letter bedside. Tomorrow, son's world upends. Margaret? Reborn. Heart mending in ways surgery couldn't. A new beginning, the afternoon visit doctor. Emily Carter arrived for the afternoon checkup at the hospital, her clipboard in hand, her demeanor calm but attentive. How are you feeling after today's visit, Mrs. Thompson? She asked, her voice warm with concern. Margaret Thompson, a woman of 68 with silver hair and a weary but determined expression, looked up from her hospital bed. I feel liberated, Emily. For the first time in years, I feel like I'm finally free. Free? Emily raised an eyebrow, curious. Free from what, Margaret? Free from the weight of believing I matter to anyone but myself, Margaret replied, her voice steady but tinged with a quiet resolve. Free from the delusion that my children need me or even want me in their lives. The plan unfolds at precisely 6:10 p.m. Clara, Margaret's closest friend for over 3 decades, arrived at the hospital, She carried a modest duffel bag stuffed with clothes from Margaret's small apartment and a thick envelope containing $10,000 in cash. Savings Margaret had meticulously gathered over the years. Clara's eyes sparkled with a mix of excitement and nervousness. "Ready for your new chapter, darling?" "More than ready, Clara," Margaret said, her lips curving into a faint smile. "I've been waiting for this moment my whole life, even if I didn't realize it until now." By 7 p.m., as the hospital's bustling corridors quieted and the night shift nurses settled into their routines, Margaret and Clara set their carefully crafted plan into motion. The adrenaline coursing through Margaret's veins felt foreign yet exhilarating, as if she were a young girl sneaking out for an adventure, rather than a woman in her late 60s reclaiming her life. Clara helped Margaret change into a navy blue dress she'd bought 2 years ago, but never worn, after her daughter Ellen had dismissed it as too old-fashioned. Today, it felt like the perfect choice, a symbol of a new beginning, bold and unapologetic. "Are you absolutely sure about this, Margaret?" Clara asked, her tone serious as she adjusted the collar of Margaret's dress. "Once we leave, there's no undoing this." Margaret's gaze was unwavering. "Clara, for 45 years, I've put my children first, sacrificing every piece of myself for them. There's been no way back for me since the day I decided they were my world. This is me moving forward, finally." The letter Margaret reached into the bedside drawer and pulled out a cream-colored envelope. Her children's names, Ellen, Michael, and Sophie, written in her elegant, looping handwriting. She placed it carefully on the pillow, where it would be impossible to miss. The letter inside was 5 pages long, each word a carefully chosen arrow aimed at shattering the illusion her children had built. A world where their mother's absence was inconsequential. "Clara, make sure they don't get this until tomorrow evening," Margaret instructed. "I need time to get to Austin and settle in before they realize I'm gone." Clara nodded. "Tomorrow at 6 p.m. I'll deliver it to Michael's house. And when they ask where you are, I'll tell them exactly what you told me. I don't know. The escape doctor." Emily returned at 7:45 p.m., right on schedule, her shift nearing its end. She had agreed to help Margaret leave the hospital without an official discharge, a risky but necessary part of the plan. "Mrs. Thompson, everything's set," Emily said, her voice low. "My cousin Rachel is waiting in the parking lot with the documents you requested." Margaret took a deep breath. "I'm as ready as I'll ever be." They moved through the hospital corridors with practiced ease, blending in with the late visitors leaving after hours. Emily had chosen the perfect time, busy enough to avoid suspicion, quiet enough to avoid scrutiny. In the parking lot, Rachel, a sharp-eyed lawyer in her early 50s, greeted them with a firm handshake. "Mrs. Thompson, I'm Rachel Evans, attorney at law," she said, her tone professional but warm. "Emily explained your situation, and I want you to know I admire your courage. Here are the documents." Rachel handed Margaret a folder containing a power of attorney granting Clara authority over her financial and legal affairs, as well as a notarized statement affirming Margaret's mental competency and deliberate choice to leave. "If your children try to contest this," Rachel said confidently, "they won't have a leg to stand on. I've included witness statements and medical records to back it up. You're legally free to live as you choose." Margaret signed the papers under the dim glow of a parking lot streetlight, each stroke of the pen feeling like a step toward liberation. "Thank you, Rachel," she said. "This means more than you know." The journey Clara drove Margaret to the bus station, the silence between them heavy but companionable. At the ticket counter, Margaret purchased a one-way ticket to Austin, a 10-hour journey set to depart at 9:30 p.m. "You'll arrive at 7:30 tomorrow morning," the clerk said, sliding the ticket across the counter. "Perfect," Margaret replied. By the time her children read the letter, she'd be 300 miles away, beginning her new life. In the waiting area, Clara turned to her friend. "Margaret, I'm so proud of you. Not many women your age would have the strength to do this." Margaret smiled softly. "I'm not starting over, Clara. I'm starting with 68 years of wisdom, $10,000 in my bag, and the knowledge that I deserve more than being an afterthought." When the bus was announced, they embraced tightly, their bond forged through years of shared laughter and tears. "Call me when you get there," Clara said, her voice thick with emotion. "I need to know you're safe." "I'll call you every week," Margaret promised. "You're the family I choose." A new dawn, Margaret boarded the bus, her duffel bag in hand, and found a window seat. As the vehicle pulled away from the city she'd called home for decades, she took out her phone and typed a final message to her children. "Ellen, Michael, Sophie, by the time you read this, I'll be gone. A letter on my hospital bed explains everything. Don't look for me. This is my choice, and it's final. Live your lives as you always have without me. I'll be fine. Margaret." She sent the message and powered off her phone, unwilling to face the inevitable flood of replies. The bus rolled through the night, carrying her away from a life of unappreciated sacrifices and toward a future of her own making. At 2 a.m., while most passengers slept, Margaret remained awake, her mind alive with thoughts of what lay behind and ahead. There was no regret, only a quiet anticipation. Her cousin Laura had promised Austin was a vibrant city, full of music, art, and people who embraced newcomers. "You can reinvent yourself here, Margaret," Laura had said over the phone. "No one will know your past, and you can write your own future." Arrival in Austin, the bus pulled into Austin at 7:30 a.m., the morning sun casting a golden glow over the city. Laura, a sprightly 70-year-old with a contagious laugh, was waiting at the terminal. "Margaret!" she cried, enveloping her cousin in a warm hug. "You look like you've shed a lifetime of weight." "I have," Margaret said, smiling. 45 years of it, left behind 300 miles away. Laura's home was a cozy bungalow with a front porch adorned with hanging plants and a backyard bursting with wildflowers. Margaret's room was small but bright, with a quilted bedspread and a window overlooking the garden. "This is yours for as long as you need," Laura said. "Or forever, if you want." That afternoon, over a lunch of homemade tamales, Clara called. "Margaret, I delivered the letter at 6 p.m. as promised. You should have seen their faces." "Tell me everything," Margaret urged, leaning forward. "They were at Michael's house, having one of their usual family dinners," Clara began. "When I handed them the letter, Ellen scoffed and said, 'What's Mom complaining about now?' But when Michael read it aloud, the room went dead silent. Sophie started crying, Michael went pale, and Ellen just stared at the table. They kept asking where you were, but I stuck to the plan. I said I didn't know." "How did they look when you left?" Margaret asked. "Shattered," Clara replied. "Not just sad, guilty. They know they messed up, Margaret. They know it's their fault." A new life. That night, as Margaret lay in her new bed, the scent of wildflowers drifting through the open window, her phone buzzed with messages from her children. She read them but didn't respond. "Mom, please call us. We're so sorry. Michael. Margaret, this is insane. You can't just leave us like this. Ellen. Mom, we love you. We'll do better. Please come back. Sophie." The messages grew more desperate over the days, then angry, then resigned. Margaret remained firm. They'd had decades to show her love, and they'd chosen indifference. She wasn't going back. 3 weeks later, Margaret had settled into a routine that felt like a gift. She joined a morning walking group in a nearby park, where women her age welcomed her with open arms. She found a part-time job at a local bookstore, where her love of literature and knack for recommending books made her a favorite among customers. In the evenings, she attended pottery classes, shaping clay into bowls and vases, a creative outlet she'd never had time for before. "You're glowing, Margaret," Laura said one evening as they sat on the porch sipping iced tea. "Freedom looks good on you." New connections. 2 months into her new life, Margaret met Henry, a 72-year-old retired teacher at a community book club. His gentle humor and genuine interest in her stories made her feel seen in a way she hadn't in years. They became friends, sharing coffee dates and long conversations about books and life. "Margaret," Henry said one day, "whatever brought you to Austin, I'm glad it did. You've brought something special to this place." Her children's messages dwindled over time. The last one from Michael arrived. Her children's messages dwindled over time. The last one from Michael arrived a month ago. "Mom, if this is what you want, we respect it. We're sorry for everything. Please just let us know you're okay. We love you." Margaret didn't reply. Forgiveness might come someday, but for now, she was focused on herself. 6 months later. 6 months after arriving in Austin, Margaret sat in Laura's garden, sketching in her journal, a new habit she'd picked up. She was 68 now, but she felt younger, lighter, as if the years of sacrifice had been a cocoon she'd finally emerged from. Her phone rang. It was Clara. "You sound like a new woman, Margaret," Clara said. "What's the latest?" "I just signed up for a writing workshop," Margaret replied, laughing. "Can you believe it? At 68, I'm finally doing the things I love." "And your kids?" Clara asked. "They're still posting their perfect lives online," Margaret said. "But I don't care anymore. I'm living for me now." That night, Margaret wrote in her journal, "Today I turned 68. For the first time, I celebrated without waiting for calls that never came. Laura threw a party with my new friends, and I felt truly loved. This is the life I was always meant to live." She closed the journal and gazed at the starlit sky. Tomorrow was another day of her new life, another day of being Margaret, not a forgotten mother, but a woman whole and free.